Well, hello again. This is Dr. Ortiz, and this is the lighter view of a very heavy topic. And it's a bad one because we are living a terrible pandemic, and I'm not talking about COVID 19. I'm talking about all this liver disease that everybody has that's called metabolic syndrome, and we're all going to die if we don't do something. But having said that, with that really cool introduction, let me start off by welcoming our interviewed promised. I promised that we were going to interview these incredibly beautiful girls. And before we actually start our interview, I just want to say that what you are going to see is extreme weight loss in a very relaxed fashion. But they're going to tell us more about it, like Mindy Shipley down 73 pounds and Rebecca Wade down 160 pounds. Holy moly! And Mikki Griffel down 100 pounds. Suzanne Morris down 80 pounds. And look at those pictures. Holly Erickson down 51 pounds. And before we go on to that interview, I'm going to answer three questions because we want to make these episodes maybe 20 minutes long at most. I'm going to try my best, but I'm full of girls today and they love to talk. But anyways, having said that, there's the first question that was posted online. What would you say to someone who is concerned of complications from surgery once home and the insurance provider won't cover those? I would say you're perfectly in your right mind. You always have to worry about things like this. So once you've worried about those, you want to select a good destination, in other words, a reputable center. You're already, if you're going out of the country, you have to do your homework because health tourism, of course, is the in thing. And you're always going to find opportunistic, let's say, companies that want to make a quick buck. So be careful. Don't try to save even additional by cutting corners and price shopping around. If you're going internationally, there's always reputable centers. There's nothing better than having these accreditations that are third party, that they have no vested interest in that specific company, not monetary interest. So that'll give you a good idea of where to go. In other words, those that have Joint Commission accreditation. Having said that, if you're worried, when you're worried, go ahead and pose that question to your doctor, to your treating physician, like you have right now. And what I would tell you is complications are extremely low in a center that is dedicated to this. Having said that, if you ever do have something, it's going to take you longer to get attention in your hometown because you're going to be there waiting 8 to 10 hours in a waiting room, in a hospital emergency room, versus hop on a plane, coming down, getting treated, and going back home. That's the price you pay for having surgery outside the country. But having said that, it's extremely rare. So be confident in the team you select, but do your due diligence. There's a next question really quickly that says, how long does it take swelling to go down? That's probably somebody that had surgery. And swelling, probably what they're meaning is that once they get the surgery, there's going to be tightness. I'm going to ask the girls right now, our sleeve sisters, if anybody had that tightness, meaning that there's a difficulty swallowing liquids immediately after surgery. That'll dissipate between 3 to 7 days, but sometimes it really isn't swelling. It's simply that the esophagus, or that upper tube, is wondering, where the hell's my huge bucket I used to have? I can't throw food down like I used to, and you get this feeling of quick sensation, or even food or liquid getting stuck. That will slowly subside. Everybody's different, but I can promise you it will subside. Some patients take longer, sometimes a couple of weeks. Never overdo it, but the good thing is that patients that do feel that sometimes lose a lot more weight. So kind of that's a good indicator. And the last question is, how fast can I expect to lose weight, and how many pounds per week? And that question, I'm not going to answer it. I'm going to let the girls answer it. So with no further ado, let me introduce the Sleeve Sisters. Girls, welcome.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Good to
No.
see all of you. I'm spectacularly amazed at these pictures. How long has it been since our last online event?
What, 5 months?
Wow.
So,
All right.
yeah.
Who's going to start first? I heard everybody kind of talking about how easy it's been because there's no temptation out there. COVID is kind of keeping you inside, and so you guys were talking about wineries, restaurants, etc. Yeah, I was eavesdropping, girls.
Uh-oh.
Oh, sorry,
So,
Rebecca.
so you know my secret.
All right, Mindy, I'm going to start with you. Because
Okay.
because first of all, you were incredulous, you were a non-believer, you wanted your whole family to benefit from this procedure, but when it was your turn, it's like, well, I don't know if I'm the right one because I'm probably gonna fail. You gave me all these excuses, and we were there, and like, really? And your kids were like, come on, mom, just just have a little jump of faith, and look at you now. Where are the regrets?
Absolutely no regrets. There's not a regret. There are times you were talking about swallowing and the food going down and stuff. We still experience that. I still experience that a little bit, but that's because I'm too anxious to eat sometimes that I just go too fast and that's it. But other than that, my life has opened up. It is so big, even under COVID. It's just opened up. No regret.
Okay, so picture yourself right there in that bed when you were talking to me with your family there, and I bring this Mindy over there and stand her right in front of her. What would you do to that Mindy? Would you slap her?
Here,
Well, of
walk into
course.
this. Walk into this.
Please talk to her. What would you tell her?
Just relax, and you've been offered an opportunity, and if you can do it, run, don't walk. That's it.
Yeah, well, you were kind of a challenge at that moment. And I'm like, what can I tell her? I've only done 24,000 of these surgeries, and all your questions were like the strangest questions. Is that
Right?
you were afraid? So any else of you girls were afraid back then and have like dramatically 180 degrees, completely diametral changed your view on your original thinking?
I wasn't afraid. I was ready for it.
And how has it been? I mean, you have dramatically changed. How has your lifestyle changed?
Well, for one example, I used to take my lunch break and go get like fast food from somewhere and then spend the other half taking a nap. Now I go to the gym on my lunch break and I walk 2 to 3 miles on my lunch break.
How do you feel at the gym? Because a lot of my patients actually feel uncomfortable in the gym, and was there a change in that?
Absolutely. I have a lot more confidence. I always kind of thought I was a confident person, but once since I've lost the weight, it's more noticeable to myself that I actually was not. But I do feel less awkward and more comfortable on the equipment in the gym. I don't feel like everybody's kind of looking and judging me. I just go in and do my own thing and don't worry about what anybody else in there's doing or seeing or saying or anything.
Anybody else uh, with this new lifestyle started working out?
Oh, I definitely have. Um, I think that was something I did not expect at all with this procedure was the confidence and the embracing of life. I mean, in my 20s, I was a big snow skier. I have not snow skied in 30 years. I
Wow.
didn't feel like I figured my knees couldn't handle it. I would get injured and I wasn't up to it. I've been snow skiing, I go jet skiing, I did skydiving. I mean, just the world has opened up for me and it's so fun to embrace. Just this last week, I started doing strength training and it's a lot of squats and things like that where I thought and lunges and I thought, oh, I can't do this. I can do it. I don't feel ridiculous at the gym. Every day I feel stronger and leaner and better. um,
And I have to ask everyone now. I might even have to remind everyone listening. Do you remember when your body's hurt? You you kind of forgot that, haven't you? I mean, your body's used to hurt, and now suddenly You girls are telling me you squat, you ski, you do all these different, you skydive. Do you remember when your body used to hurt when you woke up every single morning? Tell me about that.
Yes. Yes.
Um, I used to wake up in the middle of the night and have to rub my like legs down with like a type of ointment or something to keep them from aching and hurting. And I have not had to do that since I've lost the weight. My knees do not give me the trouble that they did before. And now I do have problems because of playing sports at a younger age, and I did some damage there. But as far as like the extra weight that I carried, I don't have the pain and discomfort that I had before.
Who else? Come on, girls.
I
I'll tell
was,
you, I can move on a tennis court again. And I told you,
Very
Dr. Ortiz, one of your jobs was to get me back on the tennis court. And I am back on the court again. And my coach has me going side to side, up to the net, back to the back. And I cannot believe how I can move with such ease. I'm shocked. It's been so long.
Hillary,
I've always
Mikki,
worked-
let's hear from you guys.
Yes. I've always worked jobs where I'm on my feet all day for like 8 hours a day. And I noticed within like the last couple months that I can work my 8 hour shift and be totally fine and not feel anything and get over it. I'm like, oh my gosh, like a few months ago, like this would have been killing me and I would have been dead, but now it's just normal. And I never thought that would be a thing.
Yeah. I have autoimmune, so I have rheumatoid arthritis and ankylosing spondylitis, so they're bone issues. So those aren't going away, but it is insane how much better my knees and my ankles, even my shoulders and elbows feel, because I do work out and I do play sports, and I can do those things now, where before if I did it, it took me like 5 or 6 days to recover physically, and now I can get up and go. And so even though I still have those issues, they are the side of the hurt and pain from it has decreased with every pound I've lost. So
Yep.
do it.
And there's documents, science has documented the fact that being overweight um, is a inflammatory state, and it not only inflames all your tissue, it inflames your liver, and it gives you all these uh, inflammatory cells and substances that then in turn prevent you from living a whole life, and it makes disease even worse. So inflammatory situations like you have will dramatically get better, and sometimes they will completely reverse or subside. Who else? Hillary.
Hi, I haven't had my surgery yet. I was a companion with these girls and they let me uh, in on their group and they're so inspiring. Everything they're saying is making me so jealous
Yeah,
because
but I heard
I'm,
you lost a lot of weight already
I
hanging out
have,
with these girls.
I've lost a little bit, but I'm not on the same level as these ladies. And it's just amazing what they've done. And I can't wait till I have my surgery in a couple of months and get to use this tool as well. So I'm very excited.
So what have you learned? I mean, from hanging out with the girls?
I've learned that this isn't a scary process. Like it's not as scary as you build it up in your mind. You know, you think doing this will be a big, huge process, and it's actually there's so much support, there's so much love, and I love seeing the confidence in these ladies, and just their lives changing. And I started to give up on myself, and now I've realized that there's still hope. You know, like don't quit, and kind of opened up a new avenue of thinking for me. So.
That's wonderful because yeah, it's a big change. Everything that involves a change requires uh, thinking it thoroughly, especially if you're going out of the country. And we can answer all those questions on other episodes. But right now, what I'm really excited about is I was there 5 months ago when I was seeing you girls, and I get the report on how much weight you've lost, and that's nothing. You're still going to keep on losing more weight. So back then it was, oh, I want to get through it. I have these fears. Am I going to be able to do it? Now you're in a completely different mindset, and now I want to hear what your dreams are because you girls are completely different people.
Mm. Okay, can I go? I have them.
Go for it.
First of all, Dr. Ortiz, you took care of my husband last night, and
Yeah, I know. I drugged him up like you can't imagine. 5 tequilas, he was out.
I know.
Saying
I'm
thank you,
happy.
and then I would talk to him. He would forget, and he would go back again. Doc, thank you, thank you. All right, all right. Too
I'm
much
telling
tequila.
him to stay off his work computer right now because of that. But when I was younger, I horseback rode. I wanted to go zip lining in Costa Rica. There are things that I am finding that I'm saying to myself when I'm watching movies and TV. I'll say, I can do that now. I can do that now. The weight limitations aren't there. I've always been adventurous, so I've never been worried about not, being scared to do it. But I am so excited because I look at things and I'm like, it's an option. There's a skydiving thing that goes over Coronado, over the beach in Coronado and Hotel Del, and you can skydive and land on the beach. That's my next. I can't wait.
Just don't land on my house, okay?
I know. I'm gonna land in your swimming pool.
We can do that for our reunion.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I'm in.
I know. So it's just so exciting. It's so incredibly exciting. And as we move on, I just have to say this one thing in case we don't get it in. One of the greatest benefits, I think, of having it down at OCC is that first of all, we're really missing Holly. She's sick, and it's Hillary's sister, and I really miss that she's not on here with us. But we talk on our text almost every single day. If we have recipes, if there's something that's not working, if we're stalling, you don't get that anywhere else. We talk almost every day in our text messages. Love it.
That's wonderful. Support is so important. And I'm going to ask everybody viewing to post their questions, and I'm going to ask Gloria to post these questions over, send them to us so we can ask the girls so directly if there's any comments online. In the meantime, who else has these huge dreams that have dramatically changed over these past months?
So for me, so I had my surgery a year before my daughter and the rest of these awesome ladies. And it opens up everything you said, well, I can't do before, but it's about the day-to-day living. There's anxiety all the time when you're so big because you have to plot your course out of a restaurant because you don't want your body to get in somebody else's way, or can I get down on the ground to pick this up because I'm so overweight, my knees hurt so bad, will I be able to get back up? It's looking at a chair and making sure it will support your weight. It's all those little things that I don't think about anymore. I'm a year and a half out and I don't have to think about those. That anxiety of just my day-to-day living is gone. And then, yeah, I'm with Suzanne. I grew up snow skiing, and I can do that now. I can do anything I want, but it's that freedom in my day-to-day life that I don't have to think all the time about my weight.
Awesome.
I think there's also the kind of going along with what Lori was saying. I love to be like wandering around with my mask, at the mall, and be able to go into a store and think, those are really cute jeans, and not worry about, there's no way those are going to go on this body of mine. It's so rewarding to try on some pants and say, these look fantastic on me. It's those just little day-to-day things that are so rewarding to me.
And not
embracing life.
Not be at Lane Bryant.
Yeah. Never again.
I always felt like that store was punishing me for being overweight. The prices are so high.
Sometimes you don't even have to try it on. You're like, that's my size. I know it's going to fit. And it's amazing.
Yeah. So
I've
true.
even gone down a whole shoe size.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah,
you.
people don't realize that you once you lose the weight, you actually most of the shoes you were using are not going to fit anymore. Anybody
They
experience
don't.
that?
Yeah,
I had to
it's
go
true.
buy all new shoes.
I'm not liable for that. You read the fine print, right? Any
I did.
on new
Hey,
clothes
I'm
and
not complaining at all about buying small or anything.
I've ac- I've actually had husbands come back to me and say, "It's like, look what you did to her now." It's like, I'm sorry, you married her.
It's worth it. Yeah.
So being so liberating a procedure because that's the part that I thoroughly enjoy. Being able to go in there, do a 20-minute procedure. Well, yes, we've got it down. Applying this tool with the whole program that we, of course, also send you guys, which are the videos almost on a daily basis, all the text, all the information that we're constantly updating because I want you to use the tool and you need an instruction sheet. And I always tell all of my patients, there's science behind this. We didn't get to this weight and this level of disease magically or just because. This is a pandemic and we're actually using knowledge and science to back up that tool so you can live a different life and never go back. I never want you to go back. One of the things that I want to ask you guys, has there been a change in the mindset of your relationship with food and what you understand as uh, good food, healthy food?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
T-
It's
tell me about what is the difference. I mean, what would you used to go to by default, and what has changed, and what actually now even repudiate you? I mean, you you completely avoid or say never again.
well,
Um,
I was an ice cream person and I physically can't eat ice cream. I tried and it did not work for me. But you know, we had hail the other day here in San Diego, which meant we were stuck in the house because we don't go out when it rains barely. But um, so that's munchie time, right? I just had to keep thinking, what do I have in here that's protein? What do I have in here that's protein? What do I have in here that's protein? And stayed away from. I mean, we don't have chips in the house. We don't, and I don't have a desire to buy them. Um, it just kind of goes away. Not all the time. No, don't get me wrong. There are times it's like, oh, but I just am always thinking protein. That's top of my mind when I put something in my mouth. But
Anyone else, girls? Something that you used to go to your fall back to food, comfort food that you say, I'm not doing it again. I'm not going to risk it.
I'm kind of a finger food type of person, like the tailgate food stuff. And like at Christmas, we had a spread and there was lots of sweets. And I was like, no, I don't want that. And somebody made the comment, oh, a little bit won't hurt you. And I was like, well, when you're addicted to food, it
Yeah,
will.
exactly.
So,
Exactly. It's almost like somebody showing you some drugs, offering you drugs. It's like,
right.
here, well, one line or two of Coke is not really going to hurt you. It's like, really? I'm in rehab and you're giving me this stuff? That's good. That's good to know because there is an addictive part of eating. There's this relationship that we've abused over the years. We all do. It can't be that 7 out of 10 people are overweight in the United States and other parts of the world, and it just happened with no reason. There is this association between food, what we eat, and how obese and sick we become. So, have you guys had any negative feedback? Maybe getting people say, "Well, you took the easy way out," stuff like that.
yeah.
Not so much for me. I've had people ask me if I was sick.
Holy moly.
or if I had the baby, and I was like, neither one.
Oh no.
People think it's the easy way out, but it's not. It's so much work and it's such a lifestyle change if you want it to be successful.
Yeah, it's really hard on a day to day. Like, with my friends and I, when we would plan to get together for a girls' night or whatever, everything, or a girls' day, shopping, whatever, everything revolved around where are we going to eat. And so now I'm having to kind of not only reset my mind, but theirs. I was like, well, let's go, shop here and shop there and shop here and shop there. And instead of like, let's go eat here and go get ice cream here and go get coffee here, it's just, you have to kind of challenge yourself to redirect your thoughts.
Mhm. It's true. My friends have gotten used to the fact that if we do go out and go eat somewhere, that it's going to take 3 times as long because they're done and I'm on my 4th bite.
Or I'm like, who's going to share this with me? Because I can't eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
I get that a lot. Sometimes it's your spouse that ends up gaining weight because you eat like very little and then, here, eat the rest.
That's exactly right.
Probably that's why Robert was down here.
I gotta say that you nailed it.
He's a true gentleman. He waited till all his family had surgery and he said, all right, I've provided for everyone. It's my turn.
True gentleman.
We had that talk.
Yeah.
What a guy, I gotta say.
What a guy.
Great hair color as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So one of the things that I'm trying to instill in all our patients, and this is going to be a global revolution of knowledge, is that we now know that the reason most of the population is sick is because metabolic wellness is being destroyed by what we eat.
Ugh.
And it wasn't like that 200 years ago. 200 years ago, we had sugar that came from fruits and from honey, and that's about it. We would eat 4 pounds a year. Right now, we're eating over 100 pounds a year. Maybe 90 pounds a year because people are cutting a little back, but that's still 90 pounds of sugar. And unfortunately, there's been this direct correlation between this new pattern of eating and liver disease, obesity, and everything else related to metabolic disease like diabetes, hypertension, high blood sugar, high blood pressure, etc., etc., etc. All these things have been are now becoming the main disease that's attacking modern society. And in fact, 60% of people that die in a country die either from cancer, from heart disease, from dementia, from Alzheimer's, from diabetes. I mean, it's killing more of our population than anything else could ever, including COVID infections, etc. So I want to be able to instill that knowledge and all that scientific backing on people like you. You girls have become ambassadors of hope, ambassadors of wellness, metabolic wellness, of weight loss, of well-being, of metabolic well-being, simply because you went through it, and now I'd love to see you empowered to influence others. Doesn't mean you have to send them for surgery, because not everybody's a candidate for surgery, but everybody is a candidate for a better understanding of what to avoid, what to eat, how to be healthy. And there's 3 things you want to do. You want to relieve stress, because stress causes disease. You want to release inflammation, and you girls all had an inflammatory status that has completely reverted. And inflammation is reverted simply by what you eat and by avoiding toxins. And you want to create a new long life by exercising. Those are the 3 things that are most important for anybody to live a long life of metabolic wellness without disease. Have you girls inspired anyone? I was listening, peeping during the. I hear that you have inspired more than one person. Can you tell me about that?
Yes, I actually had a cousin who went to you guys and had the surgery done shortly after I had mine. And then I've had several other people who ask what I do, and I just tell them eat lean and green.
Good girl. Protein, fat, and fiber.
I came down with a friend. I was her companion not too long ago, I think September. But I shared the last video we did, the last interview we did.
Yeah.
And I've gotten so many people asking questions, and it takes time. They're not just going to go, okay, I'm going tomorrow. It takes time, especially with COVID. We have someone from Hawaii that wants to go because that's where we're from, and it can't happen right now. So I'm expecting to see some people going down soon.
Well, yeah, definitely. You said it right. COVID has dramatically changed our world, and even at that, we've created a protocol that keeps patients safe, which means that we test before they travel, then they arrive and we retest them again. We even do certain tests that are not very conventional, but we've proven with over almost 1,000 patients that we can do it safely without people getting infected or getting infected as they arrive back home. And one thing is true. You girls that had the weight loss surgery and have dramatically changed your metabolic profile, the severe form of the disease of COVID is not going to happen on you. It's been already studied. And that's extremely important because COVID-19 will attack people that are metabolically impaired. And that's 80% of the people. In fact, CDC mentioned that it was 94% of the people that had the severe complications and or died from COVID-19 had metabolic syndrome. So for me, it's almost an obligation to be able to provide this during these difficult times. Having said that, one of the most important things as well is that I want to create ambassadors. I want to create influencers. You girls are influencers. People follow you. You girls are the sleeve sisters, and every different walk of life, every lifestyle represented here. But the most important thing is what I want to be able to offer you is an advanced understanding of what metabolic syndrome is. In other words, we all have it, and those that are lucky not to have it don't want to get it. And how do you get it? By, again, keeping away from inflammation, keeping away from stress, exercising to make your life a lot long-lived, let's say. And most importantly, it's being careful with what you eat. And it's really simple. It's keep away from processed foods. Processed foods, including processed sugars, processed fats, processed flours. That equals processed foods. 60%, 64% of the food we eat in America is processed foods. That's bad. We should eat zero processed foods. You should be able to live off leafy greens and vegetables, protein, animal proteins, and fats, good fats. Anyone following these rules? Any one of you struggling with this? Anyone struggling with processed foods? How's that going for you girls?
I'm not sure you'll want me as a testimonial, but this is one of the things that I had heard about, and was one of the reasons I really wanted this tool in place. And I still really like processed foods. I'm not one of those ones that get sick when they eat sugar or if they eat chocolate or something like that. I learned over the holidays that is still a huge challenge for me, and I just need to avoid it because I still really like the carbs. And I learned that once that's back in my system, my brain just really craves those things. And so I had to basically detox again and get that out of my life because I had stalled out for 6 weeks. I hadn't lost a pound. I hadn't noticed. And that's another weird thing. It's not so much even, the scale is a good indicator, But anybody who's pursuing this, they really should take their measurements as well, because I would notice I would be stalled out on the scale and yet my body was changing significantly. And so please don't just focus on the scale, because it can be challenging. But so now I have this awareness that that still is a challenge. This eating is always going to be a challenge for me, and I have to just keep that in the forefront of, I want this lifestyle, I want to be healthy, I want to be strong, and that in order to do that, I need to avoid those processed sugars and such.
And we do keep each other in check, because when we start going in that direction, we get on our group text and it's like, anybody else? And then you find out, like, almost all of us.
Yeah. We all have our moments.
I like things quick and fast. Like, I wanted milk. So that's generally really bad food. I think when you really change this, you've got to realize that you've got to do time management, because in order to make those healthy snacks and foods, it takes a little more time. So, the processed foods are quick and easy. The fast food is quick and easy. So that's a big lifestyle change too for me, because sometimes I'm so busy. Like all of us, we just want something quick. Well, strawberries are just as quick as, a bag of chips or something like that. But it's hard.
Yeah, I found myself trying to meal prep more, because then I spend one whole day just cooking, doing all the things that I need. And then I do have that quick and fast, a few, like the next couple days. And I know that I can just throw it in the microwave and cook it, but I know it's good, healthy, protein first food. But I found with that, it's time management, and it's also self-control, because like, what's going to stop me from when I come home from work, like, oh, Taco Bell's open, why don't I just stop there and grab something? And I'm like, oh, I can like snack on that for the next couple days. And I've done that a few times, and I've been trying to stop. But I found that it's a lot of, you still have all the stuff with your brain, like it's still an addiction, and you still want to reach out for those foods that were comfort foods. At least I felt that way. And it's self-control, and it's not a quick fix. It's definitely something that you really have to work on. This is just a tool to kind of help you with like the mental part of it.
Mikki, you look so good. You're so cute.
Well, that's one of the things that I've always strived for. I understood many years ago after starting this endeavor with weight loss surgery, 25 years ago, in fact. We knew very little back then, and of course it wasn't as rampant as it is today, that it was just a tool, that there was something else that we needed to do. And we found out that it's not just recommending what to eat. I mean, there really is this dependence, this addiction to sugar, addiction to processed food, and we have to learn how to deal with that. And then, of course, it's the time situation that you have to schedule time to change the way you relate to food, and not just grab a quick bite. You actually have to have this new relationship with food where you respect it, where you admire it, where you caress it, where you let it become an artistic expression of what food is, and you work with it, and suddenly you're cooking, and you're cooking for yourself, and you're cooking for others, and then you start understanding that really processed foods, out of the 600,000 processed foods registered in the United States, 75% of them have sugar in them. Yeah. Sugar that has fructose that actually is now being considered a toxin. It's the first time that kids, adolescents, children have non-alcoholic liver disease. Just like the alcoholics would die from liver disease, now kids, 7, 8, 10-year-olds have this fatty liver disease caused by sugar. So sooner or later, it's kind of like cigarette smoking. Sooner or later, there was this thing that said, we're going to have to stop. Now, smoking isn't necessary, but eating is. So it has to be a conscious choice. What do? I'm just obligated to give everyone that undergoes our program just the tools and the knowledge. And it's up to you girls to take the decision and the step to do it right. Fortunately, you guys have yourselves to support each other, and that's an extremely important part of success.
So, Dr. Ortiz, should we all come down? We're planning a reunion in March. Should we all come down and be Hillary's companion in March?
Come on down. I promise you.
Yes.
In the hospital, we're not going to be able to do much because of the restrictions with COVID. But I'll go down to the hotel and everybody's going to get tested, and then we've got the quick tests now, and we can be safe and have a good time.
Okay.
All right, girls. Any closing remarks? Because we're out of time.
I just have one thought on one of the original questions you had was people that are worried about complications after surgery.
Shoot.
My experience with that is follow those guidelines the OCC sets. Take your vitamins and things like that. At 6 months, I had my labs done. Absolutely perfect across the board. And I needed a little more vitamin D, and so we're going to work on that. But other than that, my nutritional levels are ideal. And that was really good to hear because my doctor was a little skeptical at first about, oh, well, you had this and we're going to need to run these panels on you. You know, it's the attitude that I got. And I loved when everything came back just totally green.
I'm glad you mentioned that because we're not into aggressive surgeries. If I can get everyone to their weight loss goal or near it with a very mild procedure, why would I go so aggressive and do all these other procedures that require, I don't know, so many nutritional and supplemental interventions down the road? I know we can get to your weight loss goal as long as two things happen. We do a very mild procedure like we did on you guys, get you back at home, and number two, not lose track. And thankfully you guys have each other, because when you do lose track of things and suddenly you go back to the processed food and typical normal or previous lifestyle, things can go wrong really quickly. There's only so much detoxification that the surgery does, liver health, metabolic wellness, but sooner or later, even though you have a surgical procedure, patients can revert back to disease at around 2 years. So I'm glad you guys are helping each other out.
Dr. Ortiz, I just have to say personally, you and OCC are probably the most, or one of the most important people that has come into my family's life. And it will be that way for the rest of our lives because you have changed all of us. And I cannot thank you enough for your knowledge, your expertise, your center. I'm so happy with what you've been able to provide our family. So thank you.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I truly am blessed to bless others. It's an incredible life I live just by seeing these transformations, and I get to see the original part where you're scared, you're hopeful, you're afraid, but you're looking up to the future and saying, is there a chance for me? And then I see these hot chicks down the road like what's up, doc? What do you think of this now? It's like, holy moly, this is incredible. I had one patient send me a bikini photo shoot, and she was like, oh, and my wife saw it, and who is that? And I said, it's a patient. Well, damn, I want what she had because she looks great, man.
I think we all saw that, and I think we talked about it on our chat.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, girls, any last comments? Anybody else?
Just to anybody who's scared, it's so much scarier to stay obese. So take control and put the fear aside because, I mean, it's amazing.
It's not scary at all.
No.
Wonderful. Girls, let's do this again. Let's schedule another maybe 5-6 months. Mindy, you're in charge. Let us know when, because this is going to be crazy. It's progressive, and it's only going to get better and better. And for everybody else listening, go ahead and share this, because there is this thing about community. When you know other people that have undergone that, the fear goes away, and suddenly the hope immediately appears, and that's what you want to do. You want to be able to change your life with simple, straightforward decisions, and start today. Some of the most important thing is manage your stress, avoid inflammation, detox, decarb, and replenish. What do I mean by that? Remove all your toxins from your food. In other words, eat organic, grow your own, know your grower, know what your cow eats. It should be self-feeding, not fed. Decarb yourself. Really, carbohydrates are at an all-time high. We need to lower them as much as possible. If you can't do anything else, just keep away from processed foods. Replenish your gut bacteria either by eating foods that are bacteria producing or bacteria nurturing, like fibers. Fibers feed your bacteria, microbiota, your intestinal bacteria are extremely important. We understand them poorer than we understand the cosmos, but there is a living organism within your living organism, and that's extremely important to nurture. And last but not least, keep away from all processed foods, processed fats, processed flours, processed sugars. Those are the enemy. That's what's killing America and the rest of the world. We're out of time. See you next time. This is Dr. Ortiz.